There are two different ways to install augers on your machine, and we'll cover both in this section, but first let's take a look at the components you have. The auger and its teeth, the drive bar, the wiper bar, and the auger pins. You'll notice that the auger has a square hole in the top. Slide the drive bar into this hole. Be sure to leave the end of the drive bar with the hole closest to it sticking out of the auger. Align the third hole down on the drive bar with the hole in the auger and install an auger pin. Next, we're going to install your wiper bar. Slide the wiper bar onto the drive bar with the flat side toward the auger until there's about 2.5 inches of drive bar above the wiper bar. Check to make sure the hex heads of the wiper bar bolts are in their sockets, and the bar is at a 90-degree angle to the auger. Then tighten the wiper bar nuts with an adjustable wrench or a 15/16 end wrench. When assembled in this manner, you will achieve about a 30 to 32 inch clean to depth hole. If a deeper hole is needed, remove the auger pin and slide the bar out to the next hole. For a 40-inch deep hole or greater, we recommend the use of extendiflights. Slide them onto the drive bar and assemble as usual. If more than a 40-inch deep hole is needed, you'll need the next size longer drive bar. Be sure to keep the distance from the tip of the auger to the top of the drive bar as short as possible, yet still allow the hole depth that is needed. Excess auger length makes you carry the power section higher, which diminishes the stability of your machine. Be sure your power section is all the way up and locked. Remove the hitch pin clip from an auger pin and hold the pin in your right hand. Grab the assembled auger, stand it up, and rotate it so the hole in the drive bar and the hole in the U-joint align. Bend at the knees and angle your auger. Pick up the auger and hold it against your left leg at an approximate 45-degree angle. Slip the drive bar under the U-joint, tip the joint up, and slide it in until the pinhole lines up. Remove your right hand from the auger, install the auger pin, and let the auger hang. Reinstall the hitch pin clip into the auger pin. Now for method 2. Your power section needs to be locked in the travel lock position. Grab your assembled auger and drag it up to the power section. Lift the top of the auger and the tip of the U-joint together. Slide the auger into the U-joint and install the auger pin and keeper. Once you have your auger assembled and mounted on the machine, step back onto your machine. Fasten your seatbelt, start the tractor engine, and set the tractor engine RPM. Make sure the power section is all the way up so the auger is clearing the ground, and start the digger engine. Use the same method as when starting the tractor. Step down on the digger throttle pedal to approximately 1/4 throttle. Push and hold the digger choke button, and turn the digger ignition to the start position. Release the key and the choke button as soon as the engine starts. Always look at the digger engine fan screen to know if the engine is running. After the digger engine is warmed for a minute or two, rev the engine a little to become familiar with the feel of the throttle pedal and the sounds of the digger clutch system engaging and disengaging. Never hold the engine RPM higher than half throttle for more than 2 seconds if the auger is not in the ground. Being able to place an auger on the mark in a fast, accurate motion is a very important factor in the overall speed of hole digging. To properly practice hole spotting, side shift your digger to place the auger in the center of the machine, and lower the auger into the center of a large cross. Back up about 18 inches while letting your power section down slowly to keep the auger in the mark. With your digger engine off and your tractor engine running at approximately 3/4 throttle, quickly raise the power section about 5 inches. When the auger swings back over the mark, quickly lower the power section the same 5 inches. Once you've mastered this step, go on to what we call walking the auger. With your tractor at 3/4 throttle and in 4-wheel drive high range, start with your auger setting in the first cross. Then drive ahead while letting your auger stay on the ground for a short time. Then quickly lift the auger about 5 inches. This step gives your auger a straight fore and aft swing, yet leaves the tip of your auger only a couple of inches off the ground. While still moving forward to the next mark, stop your tractor just short of the mark, then stab your auger into the next cross. Continue to repeat these steps until you become more familiar with this technique. In normal hole digging, you would be digging each hole as you spot them. Once the digging process is complete, you will raise the auger out of the hole, but just before the auger is clear of the ground, start driving ahead while still lifting. This will drag the auger up and out of the hole and produce the fore and aft swing needed to spot the next hole. There are basically two different productive methods of running your machine along a line of holes. Straddling the holes and driving straight down the fence line is always your most efficient. To properly set up for this style, use your side shift and center the auger to the tractor and drive straight down the line as you dig. The next method is used when digging next to an existing building, fence, bank edge, or any other obstruction. As you probably have noticed, your auger is closest to the left side of your power section. This makes your machine what we call left-hand handy. What this means is if you need to dig next to something, you will put the left side of the machine next to the obstruction. To properly dig in this fashion, move your side shift all the way to the left and then back about 8 inches. Position your tractor parallel to the obstruction and about 18 inches off the outside dual to the obstruction. As you drive down the line, you will articulate sharply into each mark so the front half of your tractor is approximately at a 45-degree angle to the obstruction. Be sure when you back away to articulate back to straight at the proper time to keep your tractor in the same parallel line 18 inches off the obstruction. Always keep your auger set up as short as possible. The use of extendiflights when digging multiple holes over 3 feet deep will greatly increase productivity. Being able to spot the auger on the mark in a fast, efficient manner is nearly 40% of your hole production speed.